Trina Johnson's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the white linen tablecloth. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. The crystal chandelier above cast bright light across the fancy restaurant, making everything feel too exposed, too visible. She watched the entrance doors like a trapped animal watching a predator approach. For 3 months she had successfully avoided him. 3 months of taking the stairs instead of the elevator. 3 months of eating lunch at her desk instead of the cafeteria. 3 months of leaving work exactly at 5 o'clock to never risk running into him after hours. She had perfected the art of being invisible at Callahan Industries, the massive tech company where she worked as a marketing coordinator. And now, sitting in Antonio's, the most expensive Italian restaurant in downtown Chicago, wearing her best royal blue dress and uncomfortable heels, she was about to come face to face with the one person she had worked so hard to avoid. Nathan Callahan. Her boss. Her CEO. The billionaire who made her stomach flip every time she saw him from a distance. The restaurant door opened. Trina's breath caught in her throat. She saw the tall figure, the broad shoulders, the confident walk. Please be someone else, she thought desperately. Please be anyone else. But it wasn't someone else. Nathan Callahan walked through the door in a crisp green button-down shirt and dark gray pants. His brown eyes scanned the restaurant. Then they landed on her. His face went pale. His steps faltered. For a moment he looked as shocked as she felt. This couldn't be happening. This absolutely could not be happening. Beverly, her best friend, had set her up on this blind date. Just give it a chance, Beverly had begged. He's perfect for you. Smart, kind, successful. You need to stop hiding in your apartment every weekend. Trina had finally agreed, partly because Beverly wouldn't stop asking, and partly because she was tired of being alone. But she had made Beverly promise one thing: no one from work. Anyone but someone from work. Beverly had promised. Beverly had lied. Nathan started walking toward her table. Each step felt like a countdown to disaster. Trina's mind raced through possibilities. She could run. She could pretend to be sick. She could fake a phone call and leave. But she didn't move. She couldn't move. She just sat there, watching her carefully constructed walls crumble around her. When Nathan reached the table, he stood there for a long moment. Neither of them spoke. The silence stretched between them, thick and uncomfortable. Other diners chatted and laughed around them, but in their bubble, everything was frozen. Trina, he finally said, his voice lower than usual. Mr. Callahan, she whispered back. I think we've been set up, he said. I think you're right, she replied. He pulled out the chair across from her and sat down slowly, like he was approaching something fragile that might break. Trina felt her career, her carefully planned future, her peace of mind, all shattering into tiny pieces. This was worse than any nightmare she'd ever had. This was her real life, and it was falling apart right in front of her eyes. Have you ever tried so hard to avoid someone that the universe decided to throw you together anyway? If this story already has you on the edge of your seat, subscribe and drop a comment below telling me what you think Trina should do next. Your thoughts matter, and I read every single comment. The waiter appeared beside their table, oblivious to the tension. Good evening. Can I start you off with something to drink? Trina opened her mouth but no words came out. Her throat felt dry as sand. Water for both of us, Nathan said smoothly. And give us a few minutes with the menu, please. The waiter nodded and disappeared. Trina forced herself to look at Nathan properly. She'd only ever seen him from a distance before, or in quick glimpses as she hurried past his office. Up close, he was even more handsome than she'd realized. His brown hair was slightly messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. His green shirt brought out the warmth in his brown eyes. He looked nervous. That surprised her. Nathan Callahan, the man who commanded boardrooms full of investors, who had built his father's small software company into a billion-dollar empire, looked nervous sitting across from her. So, he said, drumming his fingers on the table. This is unexpected. That's one word for it, Trina managed. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. My assistant Roger set this up. He said he knew someone perfect for me. Nathan shook his head. He didn't mention it was someone from the company. My best friend Beverly did the same thing. She works in HR at Anderson Financial. She said she met you at some charity event and thought we'd be great together. Trina felt anger rising through her panic. She promised me it wasn't anyone from work. Seems like they conspired, Nathan said. A tiny smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Roger's been trying to set me up for months. He says I work too much. Beverly says the same thing about me. Trina picked up her water glass just to have something to do with her hands. The ice clinked against the sides. Look, Mr. Callahan, we can just leave. Forget this happened. Go back to normal on Monday. Is that what you want? He asked. The question caught her off guard. She looked at him carefully. He was watching her with genuine curiosity, not judgment. Not the polite dismissal she'd expected. I don't know what I want, she admitted. Honesty felt easier than pretending. This is weird. You're my boss. I work for you. You work for Callahan Industries, he corrected gently. You don't directly report to me. You report to Janet Young in marketing, who reports to Todd Foster, who reports to me. There are layers between us. That doesn't make it less weird, Trina said. No, it doesn't, Nathan agreed. He leaned back in his chair. But we're here now. The reservation is made. The table is ours for the evening. We could eat dinner like two adults and see what happens. Or we could leave and spend the rest of the weekend wondering what if. Trina bit her lip. Part of her wanted to run out of the restaurant and never look back. But another part, a braver part she didn't usually listen to, was curious. What would happen if she stayed? If we stay, she said slowly, this is just dinner. Two people eating food. Nothing more. Agreed, Nathan said. Just dinner? The waiter returned with their water and took their orders. Trina chose the chicken piccata, even though her stomach was in knots. Nathan ordered the salmon. When the waiter left again, the silence returned. Can I ask you something? Nathan said after a moment. Sure, Trina replied. Why do you avoid me at work? Heat rushed to Trina's face. She'd hoped he hadn't noticed. What do you mean? Come on, Trina. I'm observant. You take the stairs even when you're going to the 15th floor. You eat lunch at your desk. You leave exactly at 5 every day. And whenever you see me coming down a hallway, you turn around and go the other way. She wanted to deny it, but he'd caught her. There was no point in lying. I didn't think you noticed me at all. I notice everyone who works at my company, Nathan said. But I especially noticed you because you seemed determined to pretend I didn't exist. Trina took a long drink of water, buying time. How could she explain this without sounding ridiculous? I have a rule about work, she finally said. Don't mix business with anything personal. I watched my mom lose her job once because she dated someone in management. It ended badly and she was the one who got pushed out. I promised myself I'd never put myself in that position. That makes sense, Nathan said, nodding. But I'm confused. If that's your rule, why avoid me specifically? Do you avoid all the managers? No, Trina admitted quietly. She looked down at her lap. Just you. Why? She couldn't tell him the real reason. That from her very first day at Callahan Industries, when she'd seen him walking through the lobby greeting employees by name, she'd felt something shift inside her. That his smile made her forget her own name. That she'd developed a huge crush on him within a week and had spent the last 3 months trying to make it go away by avoiding him completely. You're the CEO, she said instead, which was partially true. You're at the top. If something went wrong, I'd be the one who'd lose everything. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer. I understand that fear. Power imbalances are real. But for the record, I'd never let anyone lose their job over personal issues. That's not how I run things. Maybe not intentionally, Trina said. But things happen. Office politics happen. I've worked too hard to get where I am to risk it. Where are you from? Nathan asked, changing the subject. South Side Chicago, Trina answered. Born and raised. You. Evanston, he said. My dad started Callahan Industries in our garage when I was 10. I grew up watching him build it from nothing. That must have been amazing, Trina said. She'd read about his father in company materials. Thomas Callahan had died 5 years ago, leaving the company to Nathan. It was, Nathan agreed. Also terrifying. He worked 18-hour days. Missed birthdays, holidays, school events. My mom used to joke that she was a single parent with a husband. When he died, I inherited the company and all the pressure that came with it. Sometimes I wonder if I'm turning into him. There was real sadness in his voice. Trina felt her guard lowering slightly. Are you close with your mom? Very, Nathan said, his face brightening. She lives in Florida now. Retired early and spends her time volunteering at sea turtle rescue centers. She calls me every Sunday to make sure I'm eating properly and not working too much. She worries. Moms do that, Trina said with a small smile. What about your family? Nathan asked. My mom passed away 2 years ago, Trina said. The word still hurt to say. Cancer. It was fast. 6 months from diagnosis to the end. My dad left when I was 8, so it was always just me, my mom, and my younger brother, Isaiah. Now it's just me and Isaiah. I'm sorry, Nathan said, and she could tell he meant it. That's incredibly hard. Thank you, Trina said. Isaiah is in his last year at Northwestern. Pre-med. He's brilliant. He wants to be an oncologist because of Mom. That's beautiful, Nathan said. You must be proud. I am, Trina agreed. Pride swelled in her chest thinking about her brother. He's going to change lives someday. Their food arrived and they ate in more comfortable silence. The chicken was delicious, but Trina barely tasted it. Her mind was spinning. This wasn't how she'd imagined the evening going. She'd expected awkwardness, sure, but not this easy conversation. Not this feeling that maybe staying had been the right choice. What do you do when you're not working? Nathan asked between bites. I volunteer at the animal shelter on Saturdays, Trina said. I'd love to adopt a dog, but my apartment doesn't allow pets. So I go walk the dogs there instead. What about you? Nathan's face lit up. I volunteer at a shelter too. The one on Fullerton Avenue. I've been going there for 3 years. No way, Trina said. I volunteer at that same shelter. How have I never seen you there? Nathan asked, looking genuinely puzzled. I go early Saturday mornings around 7, Trina explained. I usually go Saturday afternoons, Nathan said, laughing. We've been ships passing in the night. They talked about their favorite dogs at the shelter. Nathan loved an old golden retriever named Biscuit who had arthritis and needed gentle walks. Trina adored a nervous pit bull named Rosie who was slowly learning to trust people again. They talked about movies, books, their favorite spots in Chicago. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, like they'd known each other for years instead of just one very strange evening. When dessert came, a shared tiramisu that Nathan insisted they try, Trina realized something startling. She was having fun. More fun than she'd had on a date in years. Maybe ever. Can I be honest about something? Nathan asked as they finished the last bites of dessert. Please, Trina said. I'm glad Roger tricked me into this, Nathan admitted. I know it's complicated. I know there are all kinds of reasons why this is a bad idea. But I really enjoyed tonight. I'd like to see you again. Not as your boss. Just as Nathan. Trina's heart raced. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was dangerous. That she should say no, walk away, keep her boundaries firm. But when she looked at Nathan, at his hopeful expression and kind eyes, she heard herself say, I'd like that too. His smile was worth every risk. 3 months ago, Trina had walked into Callahan Industries for her first day of work with her head held high and her stomach full of butterflies. She wore a bright red blazer over a white blouse, black pants, and her most professional heels. Her hair was pulled back in a neat bun. She'd spent an hour on her makeup, wanting to look confident and capable. The lobby was enormous, all glass and steel and modern art. A huge screen displayed the company logo and scrolling announcements. Employees streamed through in business clothes, chatting and laughing. Trina felt small and out of place. She checked in at the security desk, got her badge and followed the directions to the 15th floor where the marketing department lived. The elevator was crowded with people who all seemed to know each other. Trina stood in the corner, clutching her bag, trying to look like she belonged. When the doors opened on 15, she stepped out into a bright open space. Desks were arranged in clusters, with glass-walled offices around the perimeter. Plants hung from the ceiling. The whole place hummed with energy. You must be Trina. She turned to find a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and a warm smile. I'm Janet Young, head of marketing. Welcome to the team. Thank you, Trina said, shaking her hand. I'm excited to be here. Let me show you to your desk and introduce you around, Janet said. They walked through the space, Janet pointing out bathrooms, break rooms, conference rooms. She introduced Trina to so many people that the names blurred together. Everyone seemed friendly. Several people mentioned how glad they were to have her on the team. Trina's desk was near a window with a view of the Chicago skyline. Her computer was already set up, waiting for her. A welcome basket sat beside the keyboard, filled with company swag and snacks. Get settled in, Janet said. I'll be back in an hour for our one-on-one, and we'll go over your projects. Trina sat down, taking it all in. She'd worked so hard to get here. 2 years at a tiny marketing firm, learning everything she could. Night classes to finish her bachelor's degree. Hundreds of applications sent out. And finally, she'd landed this job at one of the best tech companies in Chicago. She was arranging her desk when she heard a commotion near the elevators. People were standing up, straightening their clothes, putting on bigger smiles. Trina looked over and saw a group of executives walking through. They were chatting with employees, shaking hands, laughing at jokes. And in the center of the group was him, Nathan Callahan. Trina had seen his photo on the company website, but pictures didn't do him justice. He was tall, probably 6 feet, with brown hair and an easy smile. He wore a bright blue suit jacket over a white shirt, no tie. He looked relaxed but powerful, like someone who was completely comfortable in his own skin. As the group moved through the floor, Nathan stopped at different desks. He asked people about their work, their families, their weekends. He knew names. He listened when they talked. He wasn't just going through the motions. He genuinely cared. Trina watched him, trying not to stare. Her heart was beating faster than it should. This was her boss's boss's boss. She couldn't be attracted to him. That was absolutely not allowed. But when he laughed at something someone said, his whole face lit up, and Trina felt something flip in her chest. Oh no, she thought. This is bad. The group was getting closer to her area. Trina quickly looked down at her computer, pretending to be absorbed in setting up her email. Maybe if she looked busy, they'd pass by without noticing her. And this is our newest team member, Trina Johnson. Trina looked up to find Janet standing beside her desk with Nathan right there. Up close, he was even more handsome. His brown eyes were warm and curious. Trina, this is Nathan Callahan, RCO, Janet said. Welcome to Callahan Industries, Nathan said, extending his hand. We're lucky to have you. Trina stood up and shook his hand. His grip was firm but not crushing. His hand was warm. Thank you, Mr. Callahan. I'm happy to be here. Call me Nathan, he said. We're pretty casual around here. Where are you coming from? Bradley Marketing, Trina said. I was there for 2 years. That's a good firm, Nathan said, nodding. Small but mighty. I'm sure you learned a lot. What are you most excited to work on here? Trina's mind went blank. She hadn't expected him to actually talk to her. I'm really interested in digital campaigns. Social media strategy. Finding creative ways to reach audiences where they already are. That's exactly what we need, Nathan said. His smile widened. Janet, make sure Trina gets involved in the Reynolds project. Fresh eyes on that would be valuable. Will do, Janet said. Nathan turned back to Trina. If you ever have ideas or concerns, my door is always open. We succeed when everyone feels heard. Enjoy your first day. Then he moved on to the next cluster of desks, and Trina sat back down on legs that felt shaky. Her hand still tingled where he'd touched it. This was a disaster. She was attracted to her CEO. The CEO. The one person in the entire company who was absolutely off limits. By the end of her first week, Trina had formed a plan. Avoidance. Complete and total avoidance. She would do excellent work, but she would keep her distance from Nathan Callahan. She'd learn his schedule and make sure she was never in the same place as him. She'd take stairs instead of elevators to avoid random encounters. She'd be invisible. It was the only way to protect herself and her career. So that's what she did. For 3 months, Trina became a master of avoidance. She learned that Nathan usually arrived at the office around 8:30 and went to the gym on the second floor at noon. She made sure she was at her desk by 8 and took lunch at 11:30 or 1. She memorized the routes he took through the building and chose different ones. When she saw him coming, she ducked into bathrooms or turned down different hallways. It wasn't easy. Sometimes she felt ridiculous, like a teenager with a crush. But it worked. After the first week, she barely saw him at all. And when she did catch glimpses of him from a distance, her heart would race, reminding her why avoidance was necessary. Her work was going well. Janet praised her ideas. She'd contributed to 3 successful campaigns. Her coworkers liked her. She was building a good reputation. But she was also lonely. She'd been so focused on work and avoiding Nathan that she hadn't made close friends at the office. She ate lunch alone. She didn't join the after-work happy hours. She went home to her small apartment every evening and watched TV by herself. Her best friend Beverly noticed. They'd been friends since college, and Beverly knew Trina better than anyone. You're isolating yourself, Beverly said over coffee one Sunday morning. They were at their favorite cafe, the one with the terrible art on the walls and the best lattes in the city. Beverly wore a bright green sweater that matched her energetic personality. Her dark hair was pulled into a ponytail, and her brown eyes were worried. I'm not isolating, Trina protested. I'm just focused on work. You're always focused on work, Beverly said. When's the last time you went on a date? When's the last time you did anything fun? I volunteer at the animal shelter, Trina said defensively. Walking dogs doesn't count as a social life, Beverly shot back. You're 28 years old. You should be out living, not hiding in your apartment every night. I'm not hiding, Trina said, but even she didn't believe it. Trina, Beverly said, reaching across the table to take her hand. I love you. You're my best friend. And I'm worried about you. Ever since your mom died, you've been shutting yourself off. You work, you volunteer, you visit Isaiah. But you don't do anything for yourself. You don't date. You don't make new friends. You're just existing. Not living. Tears pricked Trina's eyes. Beverly was right and they both knew it. I don't know how to live anymore, she admitted quietly. After Mom died, it felt like the world stopped making sense. Work is the one thing I can control. If I focus on that, I don't have to think about everything else. But you can't hide forever, Beverly said gently. Life is happening around you. Don't you want to be part of it? Trina wiped at her eyes. I don't know. Maybe. It's scary. I know it's scary, Beverly said. But you deserve to be happy. You deserve love and fun and all the good things. Your mom would want that for you. Yeah, Trina whispered. She would. That conversation stuck with Trina all week. Maybe Beverly was right. Maybe it was time to stop hiding. Not from Nathan, she still needed to avoid him. But from life in general. Maybe she could be brave in small ways. She started saying yes to lunch invitations from coworkers. She joined a book club at the library near her apartment. She called Isaiah more often, not just to check on him but to actually talk about their lives. Small steps. But they felt like progress. And then Beverly called her with the blind date idea, and Trina's carefully constructed walls were about to come crashing down. 2 weeks before the fateful dinner at Antonio's, Beverly showed up at Trina's apartment unannounced on a Friday evening. She was carrying Thai food and wearing a mischievous expression that Trina recognized immediately. What did you do? Trina asked as she opened the door. Nothing yet, Beverly said, breezing past her into the small living room. But I'm about to do something and you can't say no. That's not how consent works, Trina said, closing the door. But she was smiling. This was classic Beverly. They settled on Trina's worn couch with containers of pad thai and spring rolls spread out on the coffee table. Trina's apartment was small but cozy. She'd painted the walls a warm cream color and hung prints of vintage travel posters. Plants crowded the windowsills, reaching toward the light. It was her safe space. So, Beverly said, loading her fork with noodles. I met someone. You're always meeting someone, Trina teased. Beverly went on more dates than anyone Trina knew. She had a gift for talking to strangers and making connections. Not for me, Beverly clarified. For you. Trina nearly choked on her spring roll. Absolutely not. Hear me out, Beverly said, holding up her hands. I was at this charity gala last weekend for the Children's Hospital. Work sponsored a table so we all had to go. And I met this guy. Trina, he's perfect. Smart, kind, successful. Easy to talk to. Handsome but not intimidating. We talked for like an hour and the whole time I kept thinking, he'd be perfect for Trina. No, Trina said firmly. I told you I'm not interested in dating right now. You've been saying that for 2 years, Beverly pointed out. At some point, not right now becomes never, and I'm not letting you do that to yourself. I'm focusing on my career, Trina said. It was her standard excuse. You can focus on your career and have a personal life, Beverly countered. Normal people do it all the time. Besides, it's just one date. Dinner. 2 hours of your life. If you hate it, you never have to see him again. If he's so great, why don't you date him? Trina challenged. Not my type, Beverly said. Too serious. I like guys who make me laugh constantly. This guy is more thoughtful. Careful. He listens more than he talks. That's more your speed. Trina had to admit Beverly had a point, but the idea of dating still made her anxious. I don't know, Bev. Come on, Beverly urged. What's the worst that could happen? You have an awkward dinner and a funny story to tell me afterward? The best that could happen is you meet someone amazing and actually let yourself be happy for once. That's emotional manipulation, Trina said. Is it working? Beverly asked with a grin. Trina sighed. She looked around her small apartment, at her quiet Friday night with takeout and Netflix queued up. Beverly was right. This was her life now. Safe, predictable, and desperately lonely. Fine, she said. One date. But you have to promise me something. Anything, Beverly said, bouncing with excitement. Promise me it's not anyone from work. I have a rule about that. I promise, Beverly said. He doesn't work at Callahan Industries. I swear. It was technically true. Nathan Callahan owned Callahan Industries. He didn't work for it in the traditional sense. But Beverly didn't mention that detail and Trina didn't think to ask. Okay, Trina said, feeling a mix of terror and excitement. Set it up. Beverly squealed and hugged her. You won't regret this. I'm going to tell him tonight. How's 2 weeks from now? Friday night? Sure, Trina said. Where? Antonio's, Beverly said. That fancy Italian place downtown. He suggested it. Said he wanted somewhere special for a first date. Trina raised her eyebrows. Fancy. What does this guy do? He works in tech, Beverly said vaguely. Something with software. I didn't get all the details. We mostly talked about dogs and movies and Chicago pizza places. That should have been Trina's first clue. But she was too busy panicking about going on a date to notice. The next 2 weeks crawled by. Trina obsessed over what to wear, changing her mind a dozen times. She practiced conversation topics in the mirror. She almost canceled 3 separate times, but Beverly wouldn't let her. You're going, Beverly said each time. No backing out. This is good for you. At work, Trina maintained her careful routine. She avoided Nathan Callahan, did excellent work, and counted down the days until the date with equal parts dread and curiosity. She didn't tell anyone at work about the date. It felt too personal, too vulnerable. Only Beverly knew, and Beverly was being annoyingly secretive about the mystery man. Just trust me, Beverly kept saying. You're going to thank me for this. On the Thursday before the date, Trina had lunch with her brother Isaiah. He'd taken the train down from Northwestern to meet her at a sandwich shop near her office. At 21, Isaiah was tall and lean, with the same dark brown eyes and warm brown skin as Trina. He wore a maroon Northwestern sweatshirt and jeans, looking every bit the college student he was. So Beverly's making you go on a blind date, Isaiah said, grinning as he bit into his turkey sandwich. She's not making me, Trina corrected. I agreed to it. Under duress, Isaiah teased. You hate dating. I don't hate dating, Trina said. I'm just selective. You're just scared, Isaiah said, but his tone was gentle. It's okay to be scared, sis. But Mom wouldn't want you hiding forever. Trina's chest tightened at the mention of their mother. I know. She'd want you to be happy, Isaiah continued. To find someone who treats you right. To build a life that's full of good things. When did you get so wise? Trina asked, her eyes getting watery. I learned from the best, Isaiah said, reaching across the table to squeeze her hand. You took care of me after Mom died. You made sure I could stay in school. You worked extra hours so I wouldn't have to worry about money. You've been putting everyone else first for years. Maybe it's time to put yourself first for once. This is just dinner, Trina said. It's not that deep. Maybe, Isaiah said. Or maybe it's the start of something good. Either way, I'm proud of you for trying. That evening, Trina called Beverly. Tell me something about this guy. Anything. I'm going to be sitting across from a complete stranger tomorrow night, and I'm freaking out. Beverly laughed. Okay. Let me think. He's tall. Brown hair. Brown eyes. He has a great smile. He's really passionate about his work. He volunteers at an animal shelter, which I know you'll love. He seems like a genuinely good person. Honestly, Trina, I think you two will really click. And you're sure he's not some weirdo? Trina asked. I'm sure, Beverly said. He's a little serious maybe. Kind of formal. But in a sweet way. Like he's trying really hard to make a good impression. I think he might be as nervous about this as you are. That made Trina feel slightly better. Okay. I can do this. Yes, you can, Beverly agreed. Wear the blue dress. You look amazing in it. And try to have fun. That's the whole point. Friday arrived. Trina left work early to go home and get ready. She showered, did her hair and makeup, changed outfits 4 times before settling on the royal blue dress Beverly had suggested. It had short sleeves and hit just above her knees. She paired it with simple black heels and small gold earrings. She looked at herself in the mirror. You can do this, she told her reflection. It's just dinner. 2 hours. You've done harder things. She called an Uber and arrived at Antonio's 15 minutes early. The restaurant was beautiful, all white tablecloths and candlelight and soft music. The host led her to a table by the window. She sat down, smoothed her dress and tried to calm her racing heart. This was fine. Everything was fine. She was about to have dinner with a nice man who probably volunteered at animal shelters and liked movies. It would be pleasant. Maybe even fun. She watched the door, waiting for a stranger to walk through and change her evening. She had no idea that stranger would be someone she already knew. The breadbasket sat untouched between them. Nathan hadn't taken his eyes off the menu in 5 minutes, and Trina was pretty sure he wasn't actually reading it. She wasn't reading hers either. She was too busy trying to figure out what to say, how to act, whether she should just stand up and leave despite agreeing to stay. The restaurant buzzed with conversation around them. Other couples laughed and talked easily. A group in the corner was celebrating someone's birthday, clinking glasses and making toasts. Everyone else seemed to be having a perfectly normal Friday night. Except them. "So," Nathan said finally, setting down his menu. "This is really happening." "Appears so," Trina replied. She forced herself to look at him instead of at the table. His green shirt was perfectly pressed. His hair was slightly messy in a way that suggested he'd been stressed about this too. That made her feel marginally better. "For the record," Nathan said, "I had no idea Roger was setting me up with someone from the company. He just said he'd met someone smart and interesting at a networking event, and would I be open to dinner? I don't know what I thought. But definitely not this." "Beverly did the same thing to me," Trina said. "She works in HR at Anderson Financial. She goes to a lot of networking events and galas. I guess she met you at one of them and thought we'd be a good match." "Roger and I go to a lot of events too," Nathan said. "He's my assistant but also my friend. He worries about me. Says I work too much and don't have a life outside the office." "Beverly says the same about me," Trina admitted. "She's been trying to get me to date for 2 years. I kept saying no. She finally wore me down." "Same," Nathan said. A small smile appeared. "Roger's been relentless. He actually called my mom and got her on his side. She started texting me articles about the health benefits of romantic relationships. It was a coordinated attack." Despite everything, Trina laughed. "Your mom sounds lovely." "She's something," Nathan agreed. His smile grew. "She means well. She just wants me to be happy." "That's what Beverly always says," Trina said. "That she just wants me to be happy. But I'm not sure blind dating is the path to happiness." "Maybe not usually," Nathan said. "But this is definitely memorable. Years from now, this will be a great story. If we survive it," Trina muttered. Their waiter returned to take their order. Trina chose her meal randomly, barely registering what she was ordering. Nathan did the same. When the waiter left, the silence returned, heavier than before. "Can we address the elephant in the room?" Nathan asked. "Please," Trina said. "Because I'm losing my mind over here." "Monday morning we go back to work like normal," Nathan said. "You do your job. I do mine. This dinner never happened, at least not officially. No one needs to know. It stays between us." Relief flooded through Trina. "You mean that?" "Absolutely," Nathan said. "Look, I get it. You're worried about your job, your reputation, office politics. All valid concerns. I would never do anything to jeopardize your career. You're a valued employee. Janet speaks highly of your work. That has nothing to do with this dinner and never will." "Thank you," Trina said quietly. Some of the tension in her shoulders eased. "I was terrified you'd, I don't know, fire me for this somehow." "Fire you?" Nathan looked genuinely shocked. "Trina, you didn't do anything wrong. Neither of us did. We both got set up by well-meaning friends. That's not a fireable offense. It's just incredibly awkward." "Incredibly awkward," Trina agreed. "On a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 15. "At least a 15, Nathan said. He picked up his water glass. "To surviving the most awkward dinner of our lives." Trina picked up her glass and clinked it against his. "To survival." They drank. The ice water was cold and refreshing. Trina realized she'd been holding her breath without knowing it. "Since we're stuck here," Nathan said, "and since Monday we're going back to professional distance, maybe we can just try to have a normal conversation? As two people who happen to be eating dinner together." "I can try," Trina said. "But I'm not great at normal conversations with people I barely know." "Me neither," Nathan admitted. "Roger says I'm terrible at small talk. I always want to skip past the surface stuff and get to the real conversations. It makes dates awkward." "You date a lot?" Trina asked, then immediately regretted it. "Sorry, that's none of my business." "It's okay," Nathan said. "Not really. Roger sets me up occasionally but nothing ever clicks. I usually know within the first 10 minutes if there's potential, and usually there isn't. Not because the women aren't great. They are. But there's just no spark. No connection. It always feels forced." "I haven't dated in 2 years," Trina confessed. She wasn't sure why she was telling him this. Maybe because the whole evening was already so surreal that normal boundaries didn't seem to apply. "My mom died, and after that I couldn't imagine letting someone new into my life. It felt impossible. "I'm sorry about your mom," Nathan said. The sympathy in his voice sounded genuine. "Losing a parent is devastating. My dad died 5 years ago and some days it still feels fresh." "Does it get easier?" Trina asked. "Not easier," Nathan said thoughtfully. "Just different. The sharp pain becomes a dull ache. You learn to carry it with you instead of being crushed by it. And you find ways to honor their memory." "How do you honor your dad?" Trina asked. Nathan considered the question. "I try to run the company the way he would have wanted. He always said business should serve people, not the other way around. That's why we have good benefits, fair wages, flexible schedules. He believed taking care of employees was good business and the right thing to do. I try to maintain that." "That's beautiful," Trina said. She meant it. "What about you?" Nathan asked. "How do you honor your mom?" "I take care of my brother," Trina said. "Isaiah. He's at Northwestern studying pre-med. Mom always wanted him to become a doctor. She said he had a gift for helping people. So I work hard to make sure he can stay in school and focus on his studies. It's what she would have wanted." "That's a lot of pressure on you," Nathan observed. "Supporting him financially." "It's worth it," Trina said firmly. "He's going to do amazing things. I believe in him completely." Their appetizers arrived. Bruschetta for both of them, bright red tomatoes on toasted bread with fresh basil. They ate slowly, the food giving them something to do with their hands. "Can I ask you something?" Nathan said after a few bites. "Sure," Trina replied. "Earlier you said you avoid me specifically at work. Not just upper management in general." "Me? Why?" Heat rushed to Trina's face. She'd hoped he'd forgotten that part of their conversation. "Does it matter?" "I'm curious," Nathan said. "I've been trying to figure it out for months. At first I thought maybe I'd done something to offend you. Said something wrong. But I couldn't remember ever having a real conversation with you. So then I thought maybe you just didn't like me for some reason." "I don't dislike you," Trina said quickly. "Too quickly." Nathan raised his eyebrows. "Then what is it?" Trina set down her fork. This was humiliating. But he'd asked directly and lying seemed pointless at this stage. "Honestly, I thought you were attractive. From day one. And that scared me. So I avoided you. I thought if I kept my distance, the feeling would go away." Nathan stared at her. "You avoided me because you were attracted to me?" "I know it sounds ridiculous," Trina said, looking down at her plate. "But I have this rule about not getting involved with anyone at work. And you're the CEO. The absolute worst person I could develop feelings for. So I figured avoidance was the smart play." "Did it work?" Nathan asked quietly. "Did the feeling go away?" Trina forced herself to meet his eyes. Not even a little bit. The air between them changed. Charged with something neither of them had names for yet. Nathan's expression was unreadable, but his eyes were intent on hers. "For what it's worth," he said finally, "I noticed you immediately too. That first day when Janet introduced us, I thought you were stunning. And then every time I'd see you disappear around corners or duck into stairwells, I'd think about you. Wonder about you. Roger used to tease me about it." "He knew?" Trina asked, mortified. "He's observant," Nathan said. "Too observant sometimes. That's probably why he conspired with Beverly. He saw an opening and took it." "I'm going to kill Beverly," Trina muttered. "I might help you," Nathan said. "But maybe after dessert. The tiramisu here is supposed to be incredible." Despite herself, Trina smiled. "You're taking this remarkably well. What choice do I have?" Nathan asked. "Be weird about it? Make you uncomfortable? That would just make everything worse. We might as well try to enjoy the evening since we're here." "Okay," Trina said. "Enjoying the evening. I can try that." And surprisingly, as the dinner continued, she found she actually was enjoying it. They talked about movies they loved, books they'd read, places in Chicago they wanted to visit but hadn't yet. Nathan was easy to talk to once the initial shock wore off. He asked thoughtful questions and actually listened to her answers. He didn't interrupt or talk over her. He seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say. By the time their main courses arrived, Trina had almost forgotten how awkward the beginning had been. Almost. "So what happens now?" she asked as they finished their meals. "After tonight, I mean." Nathan was quiet for a moment. "What do you want to happen?" "I don't know," Trina admitted. "Part of me thinks we should pretend this never occurred. Keep our distance. Stay professional." "And the other part?" Nathan prompted. Trina took a breath. "Be brave," she told herself. "The other part wants to see what could happen if we didn't run away from this." Nathan smiled, slow and warm. I like the second option better. The waiter cleared their plates and asked about dessert. Nathan glanced at Trina, a question in his eyes. She nodded. We'll share the tiramisu, Nathan told the waiter. And 2 cappuccinos, please. When the waiter left, Trina leaned back in her chair. Her initial panic had faded, replaced by something else. Curiosity maybe. Or possibility. Okay, she said. If we're really doing this, if we're considering something beyond tonight, we need to talk honestly. No more polite small talk. Real conversation. I agree, Nathan said. What do you want to know? Trina thought for a moment. Why are you single? You're successful, nice, apparently good at volunteering with dogs. What's the deal? Nathan laughed, but there was something sad in it. Honest answer? Most people only see the money and the title. They date Nathan Callahan the CEO, not Nathan Callahan the person. And I can always tell the difference. It makes me cautious. Too cautious, probably. That sounds lonely, Trina said. It is, Nathan admitted. I have friends, good ones. Roger, some guys from college, a few people from the gym. But romantic relationships? Those are hard. There's always this question in the back of my mind. Would they care about me if I wasn't successful? If I was just a regular guy with a regular job? That must be exhausting, Trina said. Second-guessing everyone's motives. It is, Nathan agreed. What about you? Why single for 2 years? Trina wrapped her hands around her water glass. After my mom died, I shut down. I couldn't handle anything beyond basic survival. Work, take care of Isaiah, sleep, repeat. The thought of opening up to someone new, of being vulnerable, it felt impossible. It still feels scary. But you came here tonight, Nathan pointed out. That took courage. Beverly didn't give me much choice, Trina said with a small smile. She's persistent. So is Roger, Nathan said. Maybe they know us better than we know ourselves. The dessert arrived. The tiramisu was beautiful, layers of coffee-soaked cake and cream dusted with cocoa powder. They each took a fork and dug in from opposite sides. Oh my God, Trina said after the first bite. This is incredible. Right? Nathan grinned. I wasn't lying about the tiramisu. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Trina felt herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in years. Something about Nathan felt safe despite all the complications. Can I ask you something potentially awkward? Nathan said. More awkward than this whole evening? Trina teased. Go ahead. You said you were attracted to me from day one. What was it? What made you notice me? Trina felt her cheeks warm. You really want to know? I'm curious, Nathan said. Most people notice the money or the position first. I'm wondering if you saw something else. Trina thought back to that first day 3 months ago. It was the way you talked to people. You weren't just going through the motions. You actually listened. You asked about someone's daughter's soccer game and remembered it from a previous conversation. You laughed at someone's joke even though it wasn't that funny. You made everyone feel important. That's what got me. The kindness. Nathan looked down at his dessert, and Trina could see emotion working across his face. That means more than you know. I try really hard to be present with people. My dad was so focused on work that he forgot the human element sometimes. I didn't want to make that mistake. You don't, Trina assured him. You're nothing like that. What about you? Nathan asked. What should I know about Trina Johnson beyond the professional resume? Where to even start? I sing off-key in the shower. I cry at dog food commercials. I'm terrified of spiders but pretend I'm not. I read romance novels and pretend they're literary fiction. I want to travel the world but haven't been anywhere except Florida once. I'm messy at home but organized at work. I hate mornings but love staying up late. I'm better with words on paper than out loud. I like staying up late too, Nathan said. And I also cry at dog commercials. The one with the senior dog finding a home? Destroys me every time. That one wrecks me, Trina agreed. I have to change the channel. They finished the tiramisu and sipped their cappuccinos. The restaurant was starting to empty out. Trina glanced at her phone and was shocked to see it was almost 11. They'd been here for over 3 hours. I should probably get going, she said reluctantly. Early morning at the shelter tomorrow. Right, the Saturday volunteer shift, Nathan said. 7 a.m., right? I could move my schedule and meet you there. If you wanted company. Trina's heart skipped. This was it. The moment where she could either lean into this or back away. Safe versus scary. Comfortable versus unknown. I'd like that, she heard herself say. I'd like that a lot. Nathan's smile could have lit up the whole restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, Trina confirmed. But we need ground rules. For work, I mean. We can't let this affect our professional relationship. Agreed, Nathan said. At work, we're CEO and employee. Separate and professional. Outside of work, we're just two people getting to know each other. Clear boundaries. And we keep it quiet, Trina added. At least at first. Until we figure out what this is. I don't want to deal with office gossip or people treating me differently. Absolutely, Nathan said. Roger knows, obviously. And Beverly. But we can ask them to keep it to themselves. Good luck with that, Trina said. Beverly can't keep a secret to save her life. But I'll try. Nathan signaled for the check. When it came, Trina reached for her purse, but Nathan waved her off. I've got this. We should split it, Trina protested. This wasn't a real date. We were both tricked into being here. Trina, Nathan said gently. Let me get dinner. Please. It's not about the money. It's just something I'd like to do. There was something in his voice, a sincerity that made Trina relax. She remembered her own advice to herself. Accepting help was okay. Thank you, she said. I appreciate it. Nathan paid and they walked out of the restaurant together. The Chicago night was cool and clear. Stars were visible between the buildings. The street was busy with people enjoying their Friday evening. Can I walk you to your car? Nathan asked. I took an Uber, Trina said. I'll get another one. Let me drive you home, Nathan offered. My car's in the garage across the street. It's late. I'd feel better knowing you got home safely. Trina started to protest, then stopped. This was part of accepting help, of letting someone care. Okay. Thank you. They walked to the parking garage. Nathan's car was a modest silver sedan, not the flashy sports car Trina had expected. He opened the passenger door for her, then got in the driver's side. Address? He asked, pulling out his phone to put it in the GPS. Trina told him. He programmed it in and pulled out of the garage. They drove through downtown Chicago, the city lights reflecting off the buildings. Jazz played softly on the radio. This wasn't how I imagined tonight going, Nathan said after a few blocks. Me neither, Trina agreed. I imagined awkward silence and desperate attempts at small talk with a stranger. Instead we got even more awkward silence and desperate small talk with someone we already knew, Nathan joked. But also real conversation, Trina added. That was unexpected. Good unexpected? Nathan asked. Yeah, Trina said. Good unexpected. They pulled up in front of Trina's building, a modest brick apartment complex on the north side. Nathan put the car in park but didn't turn it off. So I'll see you tomorrow? He asked. 7 a.m. at the shelter? See you then, Trina confirmed. She reached for the door handle, then hesitated. Nathan. Yeah. Thank you for tonight. For being kind about all of this. For not making it worse than it had to be. Thank you for staying, Nathan said. For giving this, whatever this is, a chance. Trina got out of the car and walked to her building. At the door she turned back. Nathan was still there, waiting to make sure she got inside safely. She waved. He waved back. Then she went inside and he drove away and Trina stood in her lobby trying to process what had just happened. She'd gone on a blind date with her CEO. They talked for 3 hours. They'd made plans to see each other again. And strangest of all, she was excited about it. Her phone buzzed. A text from Beverly. How did it go? Trina smiled and typed back. We need to talk. In person. Tomorrow afternoon. You have explaining to do. Another text, this time from an unknown number. This is Nathan. Got your number from the company directory, hope that's okay. Just wanted to say good night and that I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Sleep well. Trina saved his number and wrote back. Good night, Nathan. See you at 7. She went upstairs to her apartment, changed into pajamas and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind raced through the evening, replaying conversations, analyzing every moment. Tomorrow morning she'd walk dogs with her CEO. Tomorrow afternoon she'd grill Beverly about this setup. And Monday she'd go back to work and pretend none of this was happening. It was complicated and risky and probably a terrible idea. But for the first time in 2 years, Trina felt genuinely excited about something. And that had to count for something. What if the person you've been hiding your feelings from suddenly becomes the person you can't stop thinking about? If you're invested in Trina and Nathan's story, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think will happen next at work. Do you think they can keep it professional? Monday morning arrived too quickly. Trina stood in front of her closet, staring at her work clothes like they were enemy soldiers. What did you wear to work when you'd spent the weekend volunteering at an animal shelter and getting coffee with your CEO? Saturday at the shelter had been wonderful. Nathan had shown up at exactly 7 a.m. in jeans and a bright green t-shirt, looking adorably nervous. They'd walked dogs together, cleaned kennels, played with puppies in the yard. Rosie, the nervous pit bull, had finally let Nathan pet her, and he'd looked so proud that Trina's heart had melted. Afterward, they'd gotten coffee at a diner and talked for 2 more hours. Then Nathan had driven her home, and they'd made plans to see each other on Sunday. Sunday had been even better. They'd gone hiking at a forest preserve outside the city. Trina wore comfortable jeans and a red t-shirt and Nathan wore blue. They'd walked for miles talking about everything and nothing. He'd held her hand on the trail and it had felt natural. Right. But now it was Monday and everything was different. Trina finally chose gray pants and a maroon blouse. Professional. Serious. Nothing that would draw attention. She pulled her hair back in a neat bun and did minimal makeup. She needed to disappear back into her normal routine. The office felt different when she walked in at 8:15. Or maybe she felt different. She said good morning to coworkers, got coffee from the break room, settled at her desk. Everything looked the same. But nothing felt the same. She opened her email and tried to focus on work. There were 3 new campaign proposals to review, a meeting with Janet at 10, and a presentation to prepare for later in the week. Normal work stuff. She could handle this. Except she couldn't stop thinking about Nathan. About his laugh when a puppy had jumped on him. About the way he'd explained the stars during their hike. About how his hand had felt in hers. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nathan. Good morning. Thinking about you. Have a great day at work. Trina smiled and wrote back. You too. Focus on CEO stuff. Impossible, he responded. But I'll try. Trina put her phone away and forced herself to concentrate on the campaign proposals. She was deep into analyzing demographic data when her desk phone rang. Trina Johnson, she answered. Hi Trina, this is Susan from the CEO's office. Mr. Callahan would like to see you this morning. Are you available at 9:30? Trina's stomach dropped. Yes. Can I ask what this is about? He didn't say. Just that he'd like to meet with you in his office. Okay, I'll be there. Thank you. Trina hung up and immediately texted Nathan. Your office just called. Meeting at 9:30. What's going on? No response. She stared at her phone, willing it to buzz. Nothing. Great. Just great. This was exactly what she'd been afraid of. Work and personal were bleeding together. Nathan was probably going to tell her they needed to keep distance at work, or that this wasn't going to work out, or something equally devastating. The next hour crawled by. Trina couldn't focus on anything. She kept watching the clock, dread building in her chest. At 9:25 she stood up and headed to the elevator. Nathan's office was on the 30th floor. Trina had never been up there before. She'd actively avoided it. The elevator ride felt like it took forever. The 30th floor was quieter than the 15th. Plush carpet, expensive art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the city. Susan's desk was right outside Nathan's office. She was an older woman with kind eyes and gray hair styled in a bob. Ms. Johnson? Susan asked. Yes, Trina said. Her voice sounded small. Go right in. He's expecting you. Trina walked to the door and knocked. Come in, Nathan's voice called. She opened the door and stepped into his office. It was huge, with windows on 2 walls, a massive desk, leather chairs, and shelves full of books and awards. Nathan stood by the windows looking out at the city. He wore a navy suit with a white shirt, looking every inch the powerful CEO. Close the door, please, he said without turning around. Trina closed the door, her heart hammering. Nathan. He turned to face her. His expression was serious, formal. This was it. He was ending things before they'd barely started. Thank you for coming, he said. Please have a seat. Trina sat in one of the chairs facing his desk. Nathan walked over and sat in the other chair, not behind his desk. That felt slightly less formal. I need to talk to you about something, Nathan began. And I want to be completely transparent. Okay, Trina said quietly. The marketing department has been working on the Reynolds account for 6 months, Nathan said. It's been challenging. The client is demanding, the timeline is tight, and we've struggled to find the right approach. Janet mentioned last week that you had some innovative ideas for the campaign. Ideas that could potentially save the account. Trina blinked. This wasn't what she'd expected. The Reynolds account? That's what this is about. Partly, Nathan said. I want to promote you to senior marketing coordinator. It comes with a raise, more responsibility, and direct involvement in major accounts like Reynolds. Your work has been exceptional since you started. Multiple team members have praised your creativity and work ethic. This promotion is overdue. But Trina's mind was reeling. But we just went on a date. This looks bad. People will think I'm getting special treatment because of us. That's why I called you here, Nathan said. To be completely clear, this promotion was in discussion before Friday night. Janet recommended it 2 weeks ago. I've been reviewing your work, your performance reviews, your contributions to team projects. This has nothing to do with our personal situation. Nothing. How can you say that? Trina asked. How can you be objective now? Because I've been objective all along, Nathan said firmly. Trina, you're talented. Your Reynolds campaign ideas are brilliant. The client is going to love them. You deserve this promotion based solely on your work. I would be offering this to you whether we'd gone on that date or not. But people will talk, Trina said. They'll say I slept my way to the top or something equally awful. Let them talk, Nathan said. You know the truth. I know the truth. Janet knows the truth. Your work speaks for itself. Trina looked at him, trying to read his face. He seemed sincere. But this still felt wrong. I don't know if I can accept this. Why not? Nathan asked. Because it looks inappropriate, Trina said. Because I don't want people to think I'm trading on whatever we are, to advance my career. I worked hard to get here. I don't want it tainted. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. I understand your concern. But think about what you're saying. You're refusing a well-earned promotion because you're worried about appearances. That's letting fear control your decisions. That's letting other people's potential judgments limit your success. It's not that simple, Trina protested. Isn't it? Nathan challenged. You did good work. You're being rewarded for that work. The timing is unfortunate, yes. But you can't put your career on hold because we went on a date. That's not fair to you. What if we break up? Trina asked. The question had been haunting her all weekend. What if this doesn't work out? Then I'm the senior coordinator who dated the CEO. That follows me forever. What if we don't break up? Nathan countered. What if this works out better than either of us imagined? Are you going to refuse every opportunity because you're afraid of what might happen? Trina didn't have an answer for that. Here's what I'm offering, Nathan said, leaning forward. Take the promotion. Do excellent work, which I know you will. Prove to everyone, including yourself, that you earned this. If people talk, let them. Your results will silence them eventually. And if it affects our personal relationship? Trina asked. Then we deal with it, Nathan said. Together. As adults. But we don't let fear make our decisions for us. We don't let worst-case scenarios stop us from taking chances. Trina thought about her mom. About what she would say in this situation. Her mom had always pushed her to be brave, to take opportunities, to never make herself smaller to make others comfortable. Okay, Trina said finally. I'll take the promotion. With gratitude. Thank you for believing in my work. Nathan smiled, the formal CEO mask slipping for a moment. You've earned it. Congratulations. When does it start? Trina asked. Immediately. We'll announce it this afternoon at the department meeting. Your new salary starts with your next paycheck. And I'll need you to start leading the Reynolds campaign team. There's a presentation to the client next Friday. Can you handle that? Yes, Trina said, feeling excitement replace the fear. Absolutely. Good. Nathan stood and Trina stood too. They shook hands formally, but his grip lingered a moment longer than necessary. For what it's worth, I think you're going to be amazing at this. Thank you, Trina said. She left his office and took the elevator back down to 15, her mind spinning. A promotion. A real earned promotion. And Nathan had been right. She couldn't let fear control her decisions. She had to trust herself and her work. But when she got back to her desk, reality hit. The office was buzzing with whispers. People kept glancing at her. Someone had seen her get called to Nathan's office, and rumors were already spreading. Janet appeared at her desk. Trina, can we talk in my office? Sure, Trina said, following her boss. Janet closed the door behind them and gestured for Trina to sit. I wanted to be the one to tell you, but apparently Nathan moved faster than I expected. Congratulations on the promotion. You've earned it. Thank you, Janet, Trina said. I really appreciate your support. You're going to do great, Janet said. But I need to address something. There's already talk in the office. People saw you go up to 30. Some are saying you're dating Nathan. Others are saying that's impossible. I need to know the truth so I can address it appropriately. Trina's mouth went dry. The truth is complicated. Try me, Janet said. She didn't sound angry. Just direct. We went on a blind date Friday, Trina admitted. Neither of us knew it was each other. It was a setup by well-meaning friends. We talked about it, decided to see where things go. But I swear, Janet, the promotion has nothing to do with that. I would never. I know you wouldn't, Janet interrupted gently. Trina, I've been recommending you for this promotion for weeks. Your work is exceptional. This is entirely based on merit. The timing is unfortunate, but it doesn't change the facts. Thank you for saying that, Trina said, relief flooding through her. However, Janet continued, you need to be prepared. People are going to talk. Some will be supportive. Others will be jealous or suspicious. You're going to have to prove yourself even more now. Work harder, be better, show everyone that you deserve this position. I can do that, Trina said firmly. I believe you can, Janet said. And for what it's worth, I think Nathan is a good person. If you're happy, I'm happy for you. Just keep it professional at work. Clear boundaries. We will, Trina promised. The rest of the day was a blur. The department meeting happened at 3. Nathan wasn't there, which was probably smart. Janet announced Trina's promotion and there was polite applause, but Trina could feel the questions hanging in the air. After the meeting, a few co-workers congratulated her genuinely. Others gave her tight smiles and walked away. One woman, Deborah from accounting, actually said, "Must be nice to have connections," loud enough for others to hear. Trina ignored her and focused on the Reynolds project. She gathered her new team, laid out her vision for the campaign, and delegated tasks. They had a week to prepare for the client presentation, and she was determined to make it perfect. By 6 o'clock, Trina was exhausted. She packed up her things and headed for the elevator. Her phone buzzed. Nathan, how was the rest of your day? Trina, complicated. People are talking. Nathan, let them. You okay? Trina, I will be. Going home to process. Nathan, want company? I could bring dinner. Trina hesitated. She wanted to see him. But she also needed space to think. Not tonight. Rain check. Nathan, of course. Tomorrow? Trina, tomorrow sounds good. She got home and collapsed on her couch. Her phone rang almost immediately. Beverly. Spill, Beverly said the moment Trina answered. I heard there are rumors flying around your office. Something about you and a certain CEO? Where did you hear that? Trina demanded. I have sources, Beverly said mysteriously. Also, LinkedIn is very helpful. Someone from your company posted something cryptic about office relationships. Talk to me. Trina spent the next hour telling Beverly everything. The blind date reveal, the weekend activities, the promotion, the office gossip. Beverly listened without interrupting. So, Beverly said when Trina finished, are you happy? I think so, Trina said. It's scary, but also exciting. I like him, Bev. I really like him. And the promotion is a dream come true. But I'm terrified it's going to blow up in my face. It might, Beverly said bluntly. Office relationships are risky, especially with that kind of power dynamic. But you're smart. He seems decent. And you both have your eyes open going into this. That counts for something. I just don't want to lose my career over a relationship, Trina said. Then don't, Beverly said simply. Keep boundaries. Do excellent work. Let your results speak for themselves. And if he's really worth it, he'll support you in that. When did you get so wise? Trina asked. I've always been wise, Beverly said. You just usually ignore my advice. Trina laughed and some of the tension eased. Thank you. For listening. And for setting us up, I guess. Even though you're a sneaky liar. You're welcome, Beverly said cheerfully. I expect to be maid of honor at the wedding. We've been on one date, Trina protested. 2 dates, technically, Beverly corrected. The blind date and the coffee after the shelter. Plus the hike. That's at least 3 dates. You're practically engaged. You're ridiculous, Trina said, but she was smiling. They hung up and Trina made herself dinner. Simple pasta with vegetables. As she ate, she thought about everything that had happened. The promotion was real. The relationship was real. The challenges were real. But so was the possibility. The chance that this could work out. That she could have both a career and love. That kindness and hope could lead somewhere good. She pulled out her laptop and started working on the Reynolds campaign presentation. If people were going to doubt her, she'd prove them wrong. With work so good they couldn't ignore it. Her phone buzzed one more time before bed. Nathan, sweet dreams, Trina. Tomorrow's a new day. Trina smiled and wrote back. Tomorrow's a new day. Good night, Nathan. She went to bed feeling nervous but determined. Monday had been complicated, but she'd survived it. And tomorrow she'd do it again. Tuesday evening, Nathan picked Trina up at her apartment for their official second date. He'd texted her that morning with the plan: casual dinner at his favorite pizza place, then a comedy show at a small club downtown. Wear comfortable clothes, he'd said. Nothing fancy. Trina wore dark jeans and a green sweater, her hair down in loose curls. When she opened her door and saw Nathan standing there in jeans and a blue Henley, she felt her heart skip. He looked different outside of work clothes. More relaxed. More like the man she'd hiked with on Sunday. You look beautiful, Nathan said. You look comfortable, Trina replied. This is much better than Antonio's dress code. That's the idea, Nathan said, smiling. Tonight is about having fun. No pressure, no fancy rules. Just pizza and laughs. They took Nathan's car to a place called Gino's Pizza on the west side. From the outside it looked like nothing special. Just a small storefront with a faded sign. But inside it was warm and crowded and smelled amazing. Red checkered tablecloths, photos covering every inch of wall space, and a massive brick oven in the back. This is my favorite place in the city, Nathan said as they sat in a corner booth. I've been coming here since I was a kid. My dad used to bring me every Sunday after church. Best pizza in Chicago, and I'll fight anyone who disagrees. Strong words, Trina teased. I'm a deep dish person myself. Sacrilege, Nathan said, but he was grinning. But we can order both and see if I can convert you. They ordered a thin crust margarita pizza and a small deep dish with sausage and peppers. While they waited, they talked. Not about work. Not about the complications. Just about life. Tell me about growing up on the south side, Nathan said. Trina leaned back against the worn booth. It was good. Hard sometimes, money was tight. But there was community. Everyone knew everyone. The neighbors looked out for each other. My mom worked as a nurse at the hospital. She'd come home exhausted but would still help Isaiah with homework and make sure I was doing okay. She was amazing. She sounds incredible, Nathan said. She was, Trina agreed. She taught me that kindness matters more than success. That helping people was the most important thing you could do. She never made a lot of money, but she was rich in all the ways that mattered. People loved her. That's a beautiful legacy, Nathan said quietly. What about you? Trina asked. What was Evanston childhood like? Nathan considered the question. Comfortable, materially. We had a nice house, good schools. But my dad worked constantly. I barely saw him. When I did, he was stressed about the company. Always on the phone, always solving problems. My mom tried to make up for it, but she was lonely too. I promised myself if I ever ran a company, I'd do it differently. I'd make time for life outside of work. Are you keeping that promise? Trina asked. Nathan met her eyes. I'm trying. It's hard. The company demands so much. There's always another crisis, another decision, another meeting. Sometimes I look up and realize I've worked 16 hours and haven't talked to anyone outside of business. That's why Roger pushes me to have a personal life. He knows I'll work myself to death otherwise. That's why I avoid working too much, Trina said. I saw what it did to my mom. The long hours at the hospital wore her down. By the time she got cancer, she was already exhausted. I don't want that. I want to work hard but also live. We're more alike than I realized, Nathan said. The pizza arrived and it was incredible. The thin crust was crispy and perfect, the deep dish was rich and hearty. They ate and argued playfully about which was better. Trina had to admit grudgingly that the thin crust was amazing. Okay, you might have a point, she conceded. But deep dish still holds a special place in my heart. I can accept that, Nathan said. As long as you admit Gino's makes exceptional pizza. Gino's makes exceptional pizza, Trina repeated, laughing. After dinner, they walked to the comedy club a few blocks away. It was small and crowded, with dim lighting and a stage barely bigger than a closet. They found seats in the back and settled in. The comedians were funny, mostly local acts trying out new material. Nathan laughed easily, fully present in the moment. Trina found herself watching him as much as the stage. This version of Nathan, relaxed and happy, was different from the CEO she'd seen at work. She liked this version even more. During intermission, Nathan bought them drinks at the bar. Soda for both of them, nothing alcoholic. I want to remember tonight clearly, he explained. They stood near the back wall, sipping their drinks and people watching. Can I tell you something? Nathan said. Always, Trina replied. I'm really glad Beverly and Roger set us up. Even though it was manipulative and sneaky. I would never have had the courage to ask you out directly. The boss-employee thing felt like an insurmountable obstacle. It still might be, Trina said honestly. Today was rough at work. The looks, the whispers. Deborah from accounting literally said I used connections to get my promotion. Did you tell her that's not true? Nathan asked, his jaw tightening. I ignored her, Trina said. Janet said my work would speak for itself. I'm choosing to believe her. But it still hurt. Nathan set down his drink and took both of Trina's hands in his. Listen to me. You are talented, hardworking, and brilliant. Your promotion is earned. Anyone who says otherwise is jealous or ignorant. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. I'm trying not to, Trina said. But it's hard. I've never been good with conflict or confrontation. Then don't confront them, Nathan said. Just do your job so well that they can't say anything. Let your work be louder than their gossip. That's the plan, Trina agreed. The Reynolds presentation is next Friday. If I nail that, it'll prove I deserve this position. You will nail it, Nathan said with complete confidence. I've seen your ideas. They're innovative and smart. The client is going to love them. You're biased, Trina said, but she was smiling. Maybe, Nathan admitted. But I'm also right. The second half of the comedy show was even better than the first. The headliner was hilarious, with stories about family dinners and terrible dates that had everyone crying with laughter. Trina hadn't laughed that hard in years. Her face hurt from smiling. When the show ended, Nathan drove her home through quiet city streets. The radio played soft rock and they sang along badly to songs from the 90s. I had a really good time tonight, Trina said as they pulled up to her building. Me too, Nathan said. He parked and turned to face her. Can I see you again? Tomorrow? I know it's a weeknight, but I was thinking we could cook dinner at my place. Nothing fancy. Just food and conversation. I'd like that, Trina said. Then she hesitated. Nathan, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest. Of course, he said. Is this real for you? Trina asked. Or is this just exciting because it's complicated and new? Because I need to know if I'm investing my heart in something that's going to last or if this is just a temporary thing. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. It's real, he finally said. I know it's only been a few days. I know we barely know each other. But this feels different. You feel different. I'm not looking for temporary, Trina. I'm looking for something that matters. Me too, Trina whispered. So let's take this seriously, Nathan said. Let's be intentional. Let's build something real even though it's complicated. Even though people will talk. Because I think you're worth it. And I hope you think I'm worth it too. I do, Trina said. I really do. Nathan smiled and reached for her hand. Tomorrow then. 6 o'clock. I'll text you my address. And fair warning, I'm a mediocre cook. We might end up ordering takeout. I'm an excellent cook, Trina said. I'll bring ingredients and save us both from food poisoning. Nathan laughed. Deal. Trina got out of the car and walked to her building. At the door she turned back. Nathan was still there watching. She waved. He waved back. Then she went inside, feeling lighter than she had in years. That night she texted Isaiah. I think I'm falling for someone. It's complicated and probably a terrible idea. But I'm happy. Really happy. Isaiah wrote back almost immediately, Mom would be so proud of you for being brave. I'm proud too. Go for it, sis. Life's too short to play it safe all the time. Trina smiled and put her phone on the charger. Isaiah was right. Life was too short. Her mom had taught her that. And maybe, just maybe, this was the right kind of risk to take. Wednesday evening, Trina showed up at Nathan's apartment in Lincoln Park with 2 grocery bags full of ingredients. She decided to make chicken stir-fry with vegetables and rice, something simple but impressive. Nathan had texted her earlier with a warning, my kitchen is barely used. Not sure I even have basic spices. Bring everything. His building was nice but not ostentatious. A converted brownstone with wide stairs and original details. His apartment was on the 3rd floor, and when she knocked he answered immediately, wearing jeans and a red t-shirt with an apron that said, Kiss the Cook. Nice apron, Trina said, trying not to laugh. Roger gave it to me as a joke when I moved in, Nathan explained. It's the only one I own. Come in. His apartment was surprisingly cozy. Hardwood floors, comfortable furniture, shelves packed with books. Plants on the windowsills just like her place. Framed photos of family and friends covered one wall. It felt lived in and warm. Make yourself at home, Nathan said, taking the grocery bags. Can I get you something to drink? I have water, juice, and questionable milk that might be expired. Water's good, Trina said, following him to the kitchen. The kitchen was small but clean, with white cabinets and black countertops. Nathan started unpacking the groceries while Trina washed her hands. "Okay, Chef Trina," Nathan said. "Put me to work." "Can you chop vegetables?" Trina asked. "I can try," Nathan said. No promises on uniform pieces. They worked together, Nathan chopping vegetables while Trina prepared the chicken and sauce. He was terrible at chopping, each piece a different size and shape, but he tried hard and made her laugh with running commentary. "Why do carrots have to be so uncooperative?" he muttered, wrestling with a particularly stubborn carrot. "This is a workout." "You're doing great," Trina assured him, biting back a smile. "You're lying," Nathan said. "But I appreciate it." They cooked and talked. Nathan told her stories about Roger, his assistant and best friend, who was apparently constantly trying to improve Nathan's life. "He reorganizes my desk when I'm not looking. He schedules mandatory lunch breaks. Last month he signed me up for a pottery class because he thought I needed a hobby." "Did you go?" Trina asked. "Once," Nathan admitted. "I made a bowl that looked like a sad pancake. The instructor said I had interesting instincts. Pretty sure that's code for terrible." Trina laughed so hard she nearly dropped the spatula. "I would pay to see that bowl." "It's in my office," Nathan said. "I keep pens in it. Roger says it's a reminder that I'm human and not perfect at everything." "Smart man," Trina said. The stir-fry came together beautifully. They sat at Nathan's small dining table by the window, looking out at the Chicago skyline as the sun set. The food was delicious and they ate slowly, savoring both the meal and the conversation. "Tell me about Isaiah," Nathan said. "You talk about him a lot, but I want to know more. What's he like?" Trina's face lit up. "He's amazing. Smart, driven, kind. He wants to be an oncologist because of our mom. He's been volunteering at the hospital since his freshman year, working in the cancer ward. Patients love him. He has this way of making people feel heard and valued. He's going to be an incredible doctor." "That's impressive," Nathan said. "Medical school is expensive though. How's he managing financially?" Trina's expression shifted slightly. "Student loans, some scholarships. And I help when I can. I send him money every month for rent and groceries. It's tight, but we make it work." "That's a lot of pressure on you," Nathan observed. "He's my brother," Trina said simply. "Our mom would have done anything for us. Now it's my turn to do anything for him." Nathan was quiet for a moment. "Can I make a suggestion? And please don't take this the wrong way." "Okay," Trina said cautiously. "Callahan Industries has an internship program. Paid internships for college students interested in business, technology, healthcare administration. We partner with several hospitals and medical device companies. Isaiah could get real-world experience in healthcare business while still focusing on his medical studies. And the pay is good. It could help with his expenses." Trina's first instinct was to refuse. She didn't want Nathan solving her problems with money. She didn't want to be someone who took advantage of their relationship for personal gain. But then she thought about Isaiah. About how much an internship like that could help him. About how their mom would have wanted her to accept help when it was offered genuinely. "That's really kind," Trina said slowly. "But I need to make sure this is about Isaiah, not about me. I don't want you to feel obligated to help because we're dating." "I'm not obligated," Nathan said firmly. "I'm offering because your brother sounds like exactly the kind of person we look for in interns. Smart, passionate, committed to making a difference. If he's interested, he can apply like anyone else. Go through the interview process. If he's qualified, which I suspect he is, he gets the position. If he's not, he doesn't. Fair and transparent." Trina considered this. "Okay, I'll mention it to him. Thank you for thinking of it." "Of course," Nathan said. "That's what partners do. They help each other." The word partners made Trina's heart flutter. "Is that what we are? Partners?" "I'd like to be," Nathan said. "If you're open to it." "I'm open to it," Trina said softly. After dinner they cleaned up together, washing dishes and wiping down counters. Then they settled on Nathan's couch with mugs of tea, a nature documentary playing on TV with the sound low. "Can I ask you something personal?" Trina said. "Always," Nathan replied. "Do you want kids someday? Marriage? The whole traditional thing?" Nathan thought about it. "I think so. I never really considered it seriously before because I was so focused on work. But lately with you I've been thinking about it more. I'd like a family eventually. Someone to share life with. Kids to embarrass with dad jokes. The whole thing. What about you?" "I want it," Trina admitted. "But I'm scared." My dad left when I was 8. Just disappeared one day. My mom raised us alone and it was hard. I'm terrified of ending up like her. Alone, struggling, raising kids without support. You won't, Nathan said with certainty. Because you're intentional about your choices. You're not rushing into anything. And you won't settle for someone who isn't fully committed. That makes all the difference. How are you so sure? Trina asked. Because I know you, Nathan said. Even in this short time I've seen your strength. Your loyalty. Your love for your family. You don't do anything halfway. When you commit to something you're all in. That's powerful. Trina felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you for seeing me like that. It's easy to see, Nathan said. He reached over and took her hand. You're remarkable, Trina Johnson. I hope you know that. They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked, watching elephants migrate across a savanna. Trina felt something settle in her chest. Peace maybe. Or hope. I have a confession, Nathan said after a while. What? Trina asked. I've been thinking about you constantly. At work, at home, in meetings. It's actually a problem. Roger had to repeat himself 3 times in a meeting yesterday because I was daydreaming about our pizza date. Trina laughed. I've been distracted too. Janet caught me staring at my computer screen with a dopey smile. She said, and I quote, "Whatever you're thinking about, keep it outside work hours." We're doomed, Nathan said, but he was grinning. Completely useless. Completely, Trina agreed. At 10 o'clock, Trina said she should go. Early morning tomorrow, she explained. Nathan insisted on driving her home and she didn't protest. The night drive was becoming familiar, comfortable. Another small ritual in their developing relationship. Friday is the Reynolds presentation, Nathan said as they pulled up to her building. Are you nervous? Terrified, Trina admitted. This is my first big client meeting as senior coordinator. If I mess this up, it confirms everything people are whispering about me. You won't mess up, Nathan said. But if you want, we can practice this weekend. I'll play the difficult client and you can pitch to me. Get comfortable with the material. You do that? Trina asked. Of course, Nathan said. I want you to succeed. Not because we're dating. But because I believe in you and your abilities. Saturday afternoon? Trina suggested. After our shelter shift? Perfect, Nathan agreed. Trina leaned over and kissed his cheek quickly, then got out of the car before she could overthink it. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Trina, he called after her. Inside her apartment, Trina immediately called Isaiah. He picked up on the 3rd ring. Hey sis, what's up? I have something to tell you, Trina said. And I need you to listen with an open mind. That sounds ominous, Isaiah said, but he was laughing. Go ahead. Trina told him about Nathan, about the internship opportunity, about how it was legitimate and fair and could really help him. Isaiah listened without interrupting. So let me get this straight, Isaiah said when she finished. You're dating your CEO. He's offering me a real internship opportunity. And you want me to apply? Yes, Trina said. But only if you want to. No pressure. This has to be your choice. Isaiah was quiet for a moment. Trina, this is amazing. I've been looking for internships, but most don't pay enough to justify the time away from studying. If this one pays well and gives me healthcare business experience, that's perfect. I'll apply tomorrow. You're sure? Trina asked. You're not doing this just to help me? I'm doing this to help me, Isaiah said firmly. And because it sounds like a great opportunity. Thank you for thinking of me. And for letting me know about it. Nathan thought of it, Trina corrected. Thank him. I will, Isaiah promised. Now tell me about this guy. What's he really like? Trina spent the next hour talking about Nathan. His kindness, his humor, his dedication to doing things right. Isaiah listened and asked good questions. He sounds great, Isaiah said finally. I'm happy for you, Trina. You deserve someone who treats you well. Thanks, little brother, Trina said, her voice thick with emotion. And Trina? Mom would be proud of you. For being brave. For taking chances. For letting yourself be happy. I hope so, Trina whispered. They said goodnight and Trina got ready for bed. As she lay there thinking about Nathan, about work, about the future, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Excitement for what came next. And that was worth all the complications. Friday morning arrived with bright sunlight and nervous energy. Trina woke at 5 a.m. too anxious to sleep. Today was the Reynolds presentation. Her first major client meeting as senior marketing coordinator. The moment that would either prove she'd earned her position or confirm everyone's doubts. She dressed carefully in a maroon dress with a gray blazer, professional and confident. She rehearsed her talking points while making coffee. Nathan had helped her practice last weekend, playing a demanding client and asking tough questions. She'd answered well, but real clients were different. Real clients could say no. At work, her team gathered in the conference room at 8 to do a final run-through. There were 5 of them: Trina, 2 other marketing coordinators named Preston Kim and Aisha Carter, a designer named Marcus. Wait, no, not Marcus. Michael Chin. And a data analyst named Sophie Rodriguez. Okay team, Trina said, pulling up the presentation on the big screen. Let's review one more time. The client arrives at 10. We have 1 hour to convince them that our digital campaign will increase their sales by at least 20% over the next year. They went through each slide, refining language, checking numbers, making sure everything was perfect. Her team was talented and prepared. She just had to lead them well. At 9:30, Janet stopped by. You've got this, she said quietly. I've reviewed the presentation. It's excellent. The client will see that. Thank you, Trina said, for believing in me, for giving me this chance. You earned it, Janet said simply. Now go prove it to everyone else. At 10 o'clock exactly, the Reynolds team arrived. There were 3 of them: Mr. Reynolds himself, a man in his 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes, his marketing director, a woman named Patricia Hoffman, and their CFO, James Liu. They settled into the conference room and Trina started the presentation. Her voice was steady, her points clear. She walked them through market research, demographic analysis, proposed social media strategies, and projected outcomes. Her team jumped in at the right moments, adding supporting data and answering technical questions. Mr. Reynolds listened intently, asking sharp questions. Patricia took detailed notes. James looked skeptical but engaged. These projections seem optimistic, James said when they got to the financial slides. What makes you confident you can deliver a 20% increase? Trina didn't hesitate. 3 things. First, our research shows your primary demographic is active on platforms where you currently have minimal presence. By meeting them where they are, we immediately expand your reach. Second, our campaign focuses on authentic storytelling rather than hard selling. Modern consumers respond to narratives, not ads. Third, we've built in flexibility. If something isn't working in the first quarter, we pivot. We're not locked into a strategy that might fail. James nodded slowly. That's smart thinking. They continued through the presentation. When they reached the creative mock-ups, Patricia leaned forward with interest. These are fresh. Different from anything we've done before. I like the energy. By the time they finished, an hour had passed. Mr. Reynolds leaned back in his chair, studying Trina carefully. Ms. Johnson, he said. You're new to the senior coordinator position. Yes, sir, Trina said. As of this week. And this is your first major client presentation. Yes, sir, she repeated. Then let me tell you something, Mr. Reynolds said. This is one of the best presentations I've seen in my 30 years in business. Clear, intelligent, creative. Your team is obviously talented, but more importantly, they respect your leadership. That's rare in someone so new to management. Trina's heart soared. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. That means a great deal. We'll need to discuss this with our board, Mr. Reynolds continued. But I'll be recommending we move forward with your proposed campaign. Expect a call from Patricia by Monday with our official decision. We look forward to it, Trina said, shaking his hand. After the Reynolds team left, Trina's team erupted in celebration. They'd nailed it. Everyone knew it. Janet appeared in the doorway, grinning. I told you so. You did, Trina agreed, laughing. Come to my office, Janet said. I want a debrief. In Janet's office, Trina collapsed into a chair. Adrenaline was draining, leaving her shaky but elated. You were phenomenal, Janet said. Confident, knowledgeable, professional. Exactly what I knew you'd be. Thank you, Trina said. And thank you for giving me the chance to prove myself. You proved yourself long before today, Janet said. But I know you needed to see it for yourself. Now the whole company will see it. By Monday, everyone will know the Reynolds presentation was a success. Let them talk about that instead of office gossip. Word spread quickly through the building. By lunchtime, people were congratulating Trina in the hallways. Even Deborah from accounting gave her a grudging nod of approval. At 3 o'clock, Trina's desk phone rang. It was Susan from the CEO's office. Mr. Callahan would like to see you, Susan said. Are you available now? Yes, Trina said. I'll be right up. She took the elevator to 30, wondering what this was about. Nathan wouldn't publicly acknowledge their relationship at work, so this had to be business. Susan smiled at her when she arrived. Go right in. Nathan's office door was open. He was standing by the windows looking at something on his phone. He wore a dark gray suit that made him look powerful and imposing. Close the door, he said without turning around. Trina closed it, her heart beating faster. Was something wrong? Nathan turned to face her, and she saw his expression. Pride, admiration, happiness. I heard the Reynolds presentation was exceptional, he said. It went well, Trina agreed carefully. They were at work. Professional boundaries. Janet said Mr. Reynolds was impressed. That he specifically praised your leadership and strategy. He was very kind, Trina said. Nathan walked closer, stopping a few feet away. Still professional distance. Trina, I need to tell you something. As your CEO, not as anything else. Okay, Trina said. I'm proud of you, Nathan said simply. You took on a challenging assignment. You led your team brilliantly. You represented this company at the highest level. That's exactly what I want from our senior staff. And I want to make sure everyone knows that your promotion was earned and justified. Thank you, Trina said quietly. That means everything. At next Monday's executive meeting, I'm going to publicly acknowledge your success with Reynolds. Janet will present the details, but I'll make it clear that you're a rising star in this organization. Is that okay with you? Trina nodded. Yes. Thank you for doing that. It's not a favor, Nathan said. It's recognition of excellent work. Nothing more, nothing less. I understand, Trina said. Nathan glanced at the closed door, then back at her. His expression softened slightly. How are you feeling? Really? Relieved, Trina admitted. Excited. Proud of my team. Ready to celebrate. Good, Nathan said. You should be. Tonight, after you celebrate with your team, we should celebrate too. Dinner? Somewhere quiet. I'd like that, Trina said. They stood there for a moment, the professional mask slipping slightly. Then Nathan stepped back. I'll text you later with plans, he said, his voice returning to CEO mode. And Trina? Excellent work today. Thank you, Mr. Callahan, she said formally, then left his office. That evening, Trina and her team went to a bar near the office to celebrate. They drank mocktails and ate appetizers and rehashed the presentation a dozen times. Preston and Aisha were particularly excited, talking about how this success would help their own careers. You made us look good, Sophie said to Trina. Thank you for that. We made ourselves look good, Trina corrected. This was a team effort. At 8 o'clock, Trina excused herself and met Nathan at a quiet restaurant in a different neighborhood. They sat in a back corner booth, away from anyone who might recognize them. To your success, Nathan said, raising his glass of water. To our success, Trina corrected, clinking her glass against his. I couldn't have done it without your support. You absolutely could have, Nathan said. But I'm glad I could help. They ordered food and talked about the day. Nathan told her how Janet had already sent him a detailed report about the presentation, full of praise for Trina's performance. She thinks you could run your own department within 2 years, Nathan said. Maybe sooner if you keep delivering like this. That's terrifying, Trina said. But also exciting. You can do it, Nathan said with complete confidence. I've seen what you're capable of. The sky's the limit for you at Callahan Industries. Or anywhere really. Any company would be lucky to have you. I'm not going anywhere, Trina assured him. I love working here. Even with all the complications. Speaking of complications, Nathan said, his tone shifting. Isaiah applied for the internship. He had his interview this afternoon. He did? Trina asked. Isaiah hadn't told her that. How did it go? I wasn't part of the interview team, Nathan explained. That would be inappropriate given our relationship. But Roger was on the panel. He said Isaiah was impressive. Smart, articulate, genuinely passionate about healthcare. He asked insightful questions and gave thoughtful answers. Roger thinks he'll get the position, but the official decision won't come until next week. That's wonderful, Trina said. Relief flooded through her. Isaiah had earned it on his own merit. She hadn't asked for special treatment, and he hadn't needed it. I wanted you to know, Nathan said, that I kept my promise. Isaiah went through the normal process. He succeeded because he's talented, not because of our connection. I hope that gives you peace of mind. It does, Trina said, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. Thank you for doing it the right way. Always, Nathan promised. They finished dinner and walked through the quiet neighborhood streets. It was a clear night, stars visible between buildings. Nathan took Trina's hand, their fingers interlocking naturally. "I could get used to this," Trina said softly. "Me too," Nathan agreed. "It feels right, doesn't it? Being together." "It does," Trina said. "Even with all the complications and challenges. This feels like where I'm supposed to be." Nathan stopped walking and turned to face her. They were under a streetlight, the glow casting soft shadows on his face. "I'm falling for you," he said quietly. "I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring this out. But I need you to know that. I'm falling for you, Trina Johnson. Hard." Trina felt tears prick her eyes. "I'm falling for you too. It's scary and wonderful and completely unexpected. But it's real." Nathan cupped her face in his hands gently. "Can I kiss you?" "Yes," Trina whispered. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to change her mind. But she didn't want to change her mind. She wanted this. Wanted him. Their lips met softly, tentatively. Then deeper, more certain. Trina's hands found his chest, feeling his heart beating as fast as hers. The world around them faded. There was only this moment, this connection, this rightness. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. "Wow," Nathan said. "Yeah," Trina agreed. "Wow." They walked back to Nathan's car, hands still linked. He drove her home, and at her building he kissed her again. Softer this time, sweeter. "Good night," he said. "Sleep well, superstar." "Good night," Trina replied. "Dream about presentations and success." Inside her apartment, Trina leaned against the door and smiled. Today had been perfect. The presentation, the celebration, Nathan's support, the kiss. All of it. Her phone buzzed. "Isaiah. Got the internship. They just called. I start in 2 weeks. Thank you for telling me about it. And tell your boyfriend thank you too. I'm going to work hard and make you both proud." Trina wrote back, "You already make me proud. Congratulations, little brother. Mom would be so happy." She got ready for bed, her mind replaying the day. Everything was falling into place. Her career was thriving. Isaiah was set up for success. Nathan made her happier than she'd been in years. For the first time since her mom died, Trina felt like life was full of possibility again. And that was worth every risk, every challenge, every moment of fear. Tomorrow would bring new complications. But tonight she just let herself be happy. 6 months later, Trina stood in front of her bathroom mirror, adjusting the collar of her bright blue dress. Today was Beverly's wedding and Trina was one of the bridesmaids. More importantly, today was the day she and Nathan would go public as a couple. They'd been dating quietly for half a year, keeping things professional at work while building their relationship outside the office. It hadn't always been easy. There were moments when Trina wanted to hold Nathan's hand in the hallway, or when Nathan wanted to pull her into his office just to see her smile. But they'd maintained boundaries and it had worked. The Reynolds account had been a massive success. Sales increased by 23% in the first quarter. Mr. Reynolds recommended Callahan Industries to 3 other companies, all of which became clients. Trina had led every campaign with the same excellence she'd shown in that first presentation. Last month, Nathan had promoted her to marketing director. This time no one whispered or questioned it. She'd proven herself beyond any doubt. Even Deborah from accounting had congratulated her genuinely. Isaiah had thrived in his internship. He'd worked closely with the healthcare division, learning about medical technology business operations while maintaining his stellar grades. The company had already offered him a full-time position after graduation, working in partnership with the hospitals they supplied. He'd accepted with enthusiasm. Nathan's mom had flown in from Florida to meet Trina 3 months ago. She'd been warm and welcoming, pulling Trina into a hug the moment they met. "My son speaks about you constantly," she'd said. "I'm so glad he found someone who makes him this happy." Everything was good. Better than good. But they'd agreed to keep their relationship quiet at work until they were absolutely certain it was serious and permanent. No point dealing with office complications if things weren't going to last. But 6 months in they both knew this was lasting. This was real. This was forever. Trina's phone buzzed. "Nathan. On my way to pick you up. Ready to face the world as an official couple?" She smiled and typed back, "Ready? Let's do this." Nathan arrived 15 minutes later in a dark blue suit that made him look devastatingly handsome. When Trina opened her door, his eyes widened. "You look incredible," he said. "You clean up pretty well yourself," Trina replied. They drove to the wedding venue, a beautiful garden space on the edge of the city. Beverly had planned everything perfectly, from the flowers to the music to the seating arrangements. She'd seated Nathan and Trina together at a table with Roger and his girlfriend, plus 2 other friends from college. The ceremony was beautiful. Beverly wore a stunning white dress with lace sleeves and her groom Marcus. No, wait, Martin. Her groom Martin looked at her like she was the only person in the world. They exchanged vows they'd written themselves, promising love, patience, and partnership. Trina cried. Nathan held her hand throughout the ceremony, not caring who saw. This was it. They were officially together in public. At the reception they danced. Slow dances where Nathan held her close, fast dances where they laughed and spun around like kids. Beverly caught Trina's eye during one dance and mouthed, "I told you so." Trina stuck her tongue out at her best friend, but she was smiling. During dinner, Roger stood up to give a toast to Beverly and Martin. He was witty and charming, making everyone laugh. But at the end he added something unexpected. "I also want to acknowledge 2 other people here tonight. Nathan and Trina. They've been dating for 6 months and today they're finally going public. Nathan, you're my best friend and I've never seen you this happy. Trina, you're brilliant and kind, and you make Nathan a better person. I'm honored to know both of you. Here's to love in all its forms." The room erupted in applause and cheers. Nathan squeezed Trina's hand. They were officially out. After dinner, Beverly pulled Trina aside. "So, you and Nathan, still going strong?" "Better than ever," Trina confirmed. "I'm glad I set you up," Beverly said. "Even if you wanted to kill me at first." "I still want to kill you a little," Trina teased. "But mostly I'm grateful. You were right. He's perfect for me." "I know," Beverly said smugly. "I'm always right about these things." Later, Trina and Nathan stepped outside for fresh air. The garden was beautiful in the evening light, with string lights hung between trees and flowers blooming everywhere. "Can I tell you something?" Nathan asked. "Always," Trina replied. 6 months ago I was terrified that blind date was going to be a disaster. Now I can't imagine my life without you. You've changed everything for me. Work is better because I know you're there. Home is better because I think about coming home to you. Everything is better with you in it." "Nathan," Trina whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. "Wait, I'm not done," Nathan said. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Trina's breath caught. "I know this is Beverly's day," Nathan continued, dropping to one knee. "And I'm not trying to steal her spotlight. But this moment felt right. Here with you, surrounded by love and celebration. Trina Johnson, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to support your dreams, celebrate your successes, and face every challenge together. Will you marry me?" He opened the box, revealing a simple but beautiful ring. A single diamond on a gold band, elegant and understated. Trina looked down at Nathan, at this man who had become her partner, her best friend, her love. She thought about her mom, about how she'd always said that real love was finding someone who made you braver and better. Nathan did that for her every single day. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. "Yes, absolutely yes." Nathan stood and slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Then he pulled her into a kiss that was deep and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, they realized a small crowd had gathered. Wedding guests had followed them outside and witnessed the proposal. Everyone was clapping and cheering. Beverly was crying and filming on her phone. "I can't believe you proposed at my wedding," Beverly called out. "That's so rude." "Is it?" Nathan called back. "Because I asked your permission first." "Fine, it's romantic," Beverly admitted. "But only because I love you both." The rest of the evening was a blur of congratulations and hugs. Roger looked smug, like he'd predicted this all along. Isaiah, who'd driven down from Northwestern for the wedding, hugged Trina so hard he lifted her off the ground. "Mom would be so happy," he whispered in her ear. "I know," Trina whispered back. "I feel her here with us." At midnight, as the reception wound down, Nathan and Trina stood together watching Beverly and Martin dance their last dance of the evening. Trina's head rested on Nathan's shoulder, her ring catching the light. "What happens now?" she asked quietly. "Now we plan a wedding," Nathan said. "We figure out where we want to live. We build a life together. We take it one day at a time and support each other through everything." "That sounds perfect," Trina said. "It won't always be easy," Nathan warned. "There will be challenges. Work stress, family issues, the normal complications of life. But we'll face them together." "Together," Trina agreed. "That's all I need." They left the reception hand in hand, Nathan's arm around Trina's shoulders, her head against his chest. In the car, Trina looked at her ring and smiled. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" Nathan asked. For being brave enough to stay that night at Antonio's. For giving this a chance even though it was complicated. For seeing me, really seeing me, and choosing me anyway. Trina, Nathan said seriously. Choosing you was the easiest decision I've ever made. And I'll keep choosing you every single day for the rest of my life. He drove her home, but instead of dropping her off, he parked and walked her up to her apartment. Can I come in? He asked. Yes, Trina said. They went inside and Nathan pulled her close. I love you, he said. I should have said it earlier, but I love you, Trina. Completely. I love you too, Trina said. So much. They stood there holding each other, the city lights visible through her windows, the future stretching out before them full of possibility and promise. 3 months later they would move in together. 6 months after that, they would get married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Isaiah would walk Trina down the aisle, Beverly would be maid of honor, and Roger would be Nathan's best man. They would exchange vows about partnership, kindness, and building a life based on love and support. But that night, standing in her apartment with her new ring on her finger and her heart full of hope, Trina knew the most important part of their story. She had been afraid to take a chance. Afraid to open her heart. Afraid to mix her professional and personal life. But she'd done it anyway because sometimes the scariest choices lead to the most beautiful outcomes. Beverly had been right to set them up. The blind date that had started with shock and panic had become the beginning of something real and lasting. Trina had spent 2 years hiding from life after her mom died. But Nathan had reminded her that living meant taking risks. It meant accepting help when offered. It meant believing that kindness, hope, and love could lead somewhere good. And they had. They'd led her here, to this moment, to this man, to this life full of potential. What are you thinking about? Nathan asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. I'm thinking about how grateful I am, Trina said. For you. For this. For taking a chance on something that seemed impossible. Nothing's impossible when you're with the right person, Nathan said. Is that from a greeting card? Trina teased. Probably, Nathan admitted with a grin. But it's still true. They laughed together, and in that laughter was everything that mattered. Joy, connection, partnership, love. Trina thought about her mom, about how she'd always said that life was meant to be lived fully and bravely. About how love was worth any risk. About how the best things often came from the most unexpected places. I wish my mom could have met you, Trina said quietly. She knows, Nathan said with certainty. Somehow she knows. And she's happy you're happy. Yeah, Trina said, smiling through tears. She is. The future would bring challenges. Nathan would face difficult decisions at work. Trina would navigate the complexities of being both a director and the CEO's fiancée. They would argue and disagree and have to work through problems like any couple. But they would do it together. With honesty, communication, and unwavering support for each other's dreams. Isaiah would graduate from Northwestern with honors and start his position at Callahan Industries, working to improve healthcare technology access. He would become one of the company's rising stars, making their mother proud in heaven. Trina would eventually start her own marketing consulting firm, with Nathan's full support and encouragement. She would help small businesses grow, using her talents to lift up others the way Janet had lifted her up. Nathan would continue running Callahan Industries with integrity and compassion, creating a company culture that valued people over profits. He would build the kind of company his father had dreamed of, while also maintaining the work-life balance his father had never achieved. But all of that was future. Tonight was present. Tonight was celebration and promise and hope. Stay with me tonight, Trina said. Don't leave. I wasn't planning to, Nathan replied. I'm exactly where I want to be. They settled onto her couch, wrapped in each other's arms, talking about their future until the early morning hours. About the wedding they'd plan, the home they'd create, the life they'd build. And as the sun began to rise over Chicago, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Trina realized something profound. She had tried to avoid her billionaire CEO. She had built walls and maintained distance and convinced herself that some things were too risky to pursue. But life, in its infinite wisdom, had other plans. It had thrown them together in the most unexpected way. It had forced her to confront her fears and take chances. It had shown her that sometimes the thing you're running from is exactly what you need. The blind date had changed everything. What started as panic and shock had become laughter and trust. What seemed like a disaster had become the beginning of something beautiful. And in the end, Trina learned the most important lesson of all. Kindness, hope, and love should always lead. They were the compass that guided her to this moment, to this person, to this life. She looked at Nathan, at his peaceful face as he dozed on her couch, at the ring on her finger that symbolized their promise to each other. "Thank you," she whispered to the universe, to her mom, to whatever force had brought them together. "Thank you for this gift." And in her heart she felt her mother's response. "You deserved it, baby. You always did. Now go live your beautiful life." So she did. They both did. Together.